Sometimes you wake up and everything feels heavy. Not just your body, but your mind. Like you're walking through water, but no one else seems to notice. You look fine. You even smile when someone says good morning. But inside, everything is gray. You don't want to do anything. You don't want to talk. You just want it all to stop. This is depression. And if you've felt it, you know. It doesn't care about your success. It doesn't care about how much you have or how loved you are. It comes quietly. Slowly. And then suddenly, it's all you feel. Let me tell you something that most people won't say out loud: depression is not weakness. It's not laziness. It's not something you can just snap out of if you try harder. Depression is a condition of the mind and the soul. And it's more common than we think. But why does it come? Depression often doesn't knock. It enters silently, during stressful periods, after emotional shocks, or even when nothing seems wrong. It grows in the dark spaces between unspoken words, ignored pain, and chronic exhaustion. Maybe you've been strong for too long. Holding back tears. Smiling when you didn't want to. Putting on the mask of the functioning adult when inside you were screaming. That kind of endurance has a price. And eventually, the mind breaks where it used to bend. Sometimes depression is chemical, your brain's neurotransmitters are out of balance. Other times it's situational, a toxic job, a lost relationship, a life that doesn't feel like your own anymore. And often, it's both. But here's something deeper. Sometimes depression is a call. A call from your inner world, telling you, something is wrong. Something vital is being ignored. You are not living in alignment with what matters to you. Your soul is begging you to listen. You see, humans weren't designed for endless productivity, empty conversations, and constant digital stimulation. We were meant to connect. To feel. To rest. To have meaning. But the modern world teaches us the opposite. It tells us to keep going. To numb the pain with distractions. To smile for social media. To be strong. All the time. And when we fail at this, when we collapse under the weight, we feel ashamed. We isolate ourselves. And that makes everything worse. So what can we do? First, we have to stop pretending. Be honest with yourself. Say it, I'm not okay. That alone can be a first step out of the darkness. Then, speak. To someone. A friend. A therapist. A journal. Depression feeds on silence. Break the silence, and you starve it. Second, move. Not for weight loss. Not for appearance. But because your body stores emotions. When you move your body, you start releasing what's been stuck. Walk. Stretch. Breathe deeply. Do it even when you don't feel like it, especially then. Third, simplify. Depression often thrives in chaos. In a messy room. In a schedule packed with obligations that drain your energy. Clean one drawer. Say no to one unnecessary thing. Cancel something that adds no joy or meaning. Clarity begins in small steps. Fourth, reconnect with your inner compass. Who are you when no one is watching? What did you love before the world told you what you should be? Write. Draw. Build. Play music. Sit in nature. Listen to that voice inside, the quiet one you've ignored. And last, hold on. Depression makes you believe that this is how it will always feel. But it lies. It tells you nothing will change, and that you are alone. You are not. There are people who've been where you are and made it back. People who cried for days and then laughed again. People who saw no light and now shine. It's possible. And if it's possible for them, it's possible for you too. But don't wait for motivation. It won't come. Act without it. One tiny thing at a time. Drink a glass of water. Step outside. Text someone, "Hi. This is not weakness. This is war." And every small act is a victory. You are not broken. You are wounded. And wounds heal. Not overnight. Not easily. But they do. You deserve joy. Peace. Sleep that actually restores you. Laughter that isn't forced. A life that feels like yours again. And you can get there. Even if right now, you don't believe it. Depression changes your sense of time. A single hour can feel like a day. A week disappears in a blur. You lose the ability to track where you've been or where you're going. Every day starts to look the same. You wake up tired. You go to sleep with the same numbness. And you start to wonder, is this just who I am now? But that's not the real you. That's the illness talking. Depression hijacks the mind. It replaces your voice with one that whispers lies, softly, constantly. You're worthless. You're a burden. No one really cares. And eventually, you believe it. You stop arguing. You surrender. But here's something you need to know, just because a thought feels true doesn't mean it is. Marcus Aurelius, emperor and Stoic philosopher, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." But when you're depressed, your own mind feels like the enemy. That's why this quote matters even more. You have to learn to separate yourself from the thoughts depression sends your way. You are not your sadness. You are not your tiredness. You are the one observing it. You are the witness, not the wound. This is where Stoicism becomes not just a philosophy, but a survival tool. The Stoics taught that suffering doesn't come from what happens to us, but from our judgment of what happens. And that means we can train the way we interpret our experience. Easier said than done. Of course. But it starts with a small step. Next time a thought arises, I can't do this, nothing matters, I'm broken, don't argue with it. Just look at it. Imagine you're sitting on the shore, and that thought is a boat passing by. Watch it. Let it float. Don't get in. That's what Epictetus meant when he said, it's not things that upset us, but our opinions about things. Your brain may be cloudy, but you still have moments of clarity. Use them to challenge the lie. Even if you can't believe in your worth today, act as if you do. That alone can begin to change your life. Let's talk about another trap of depression, isolation. It feels safe to hide. To curl up and disappear from the world. To stop responding to messages. To cancel plans. You tell yourself, I just need a little time. But days turn into weeks. And the longer you're alone, the heavier everything gets. Human beings are not meant to heal alone. You need connection. Not shallow small talk. Not fake smiles. But someone who sees you. Who listens without fixing. Who sits with you in the darkness without trying to turn on the lights too fast. If you don't have someone like that right now, be that person for someone else. It might sound strange, but helping someone, even in a small way, can reconnect you to life. A smile. A kind word. An act of service. It reminds you that you still have value. That you're still human. The Stoics would call this living according to nature. They believed humans are social creatures by design. That part of our purpose is to support one another. And when we isolate, we break that natural law, and we suffer more because of it. So, no matter how dark it feels, reach out. Not for a solution. Not for a cure. But for a reminder, you are still here. And someone else is too. Another cruel trick of depression is how it drains your energy. Everything feels like effort. Getting out of bed. Taking a shower. Answering a message. Even eating becomes a decision you can't make. You might say, I'm just lazy. But laziness is a choice. Depression is a weight. This is not about willpower. It's about survival. And that means you have to stop expecting yourself to move like you used to. In depression, your victories will look different. Celebrate brushing your teeth. Celebrate making your bed. Celebrate showing up for 1 hour of work. These are not small wins. These are acts of resistance. Seneca said, sometimes even to live is an act of courage. He wasn't exaggerating. There are days when just staying alive is the bravest thing you can do. And you should honor that. You are not failing. You are enduring. But don't stop there. You need structure. Depression thrives in chaos. Without a routine, your mind spirals. So give yourself gentle order. Wake up at the same time. Eat at regular intervals. Go outside once a day. Don't wait to feel like doing it, just do it because that's your medicine now. Even one small routine, like journaling in the morning, or walking at sunset, can begin to shift your inner world. It tells your mind, we're not giving up. There will be days when nothing helps. Days when your chest feels heavy, and hope feels far away. And on those days, all you can do is endure. That's enough. But know this, it will pass. All emotions are temporary. Even the ones that feel eternal. No storm lasts forever. Even when the sky is dark for days, the sun hasn't disappeared, it's still there, waiting. So keep breathing. This is not who you are. This is a season. A chapter. A shadow. And you are still the author of your life. Even if your hands are shaking, you can write something new. Even now. There will come a day when you wake up, and something feels different. Not joy. Not excitement. But a crack in the gray. A moment of stillness that doesn't feel heavy. A second where the noise in your head fades just long enough for you to take a breath and not hate yourself for existing. That moment matters. Because that's the beginning of healing. You might not notice it at first. Healing is slow. It doesn't arrive with fanfare or fireworks. It comes quietly. In a laugh you didn't force. In a sunset you paused to look at. In a memory that doesn't hurt as much anymore. The truth is, recovery doesn't look like the movies. There's no magical turning point. It's a climb. And most days, it feels like you're going in circles. But you're not. Every time you choose to stay, to care for yourself, to try again, that's a step. Every time you resist the lie that says, you're nothing, that's a victory. Every time you choose to speak when it's easier to stay silent, you're reclaiming your life. And life will meet you there. One of the most powerful things you can do in recovery is to rebuild your relationship with your body. Depression pulls you into your mind, where every thought becomes a maze. But your body is here. Now. Breathing. Alive. So move it. Gently. With kindness. Not to change it. But to reconnect with it. Walk without headphones. Stretch in the morning. Feel the water when you shower. Taste your food. Place your hand on your chest and feel your heart beating. That's proof, you're still here. Marcus Aurelius would remind himself daily that the body is part of nature. That it deserves care, attention, and discipline, not punishment. The Stoics were not anti-body. They were anti-indulgence. But they respected the vessel. And when you begin to care for your body, even in the smallest ways, you're telling your subconscious, I matter. This life matters. Another key shift happens when you stop asking, what do I feel like doing, and start asking, what kind of person do I want to be? Depression traps you in how you feel. Stoicism pulls you toward how you act. You might not feel brave. But you can act with courage. You might not feel loving. But you can do one kind thing. You might not feel alive. But you can sit under the sky and look up. Action changes identity. Seneca wrote, no man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity. For he is not permitted to prove himself. You are being asked to prove something now, not to others, but to yourself. To show yourself that you can stand again, no matter how many times you've fallen. And here's the truth no one tells you, you don't need to become someone new. You need to return to who you were before the world told you who to be. Before the fear. Before the pressure. Before the burnout. What lit you up as a child? What gave you energy before everything became a task? Go there. Even if it's silly. Even if it doesn't fit the adult you've become. That spark still lives inside you. It's not dead. It's buried. And you can dig it out. The Stoics spoke often of eudaimonia, a life of flourishing. Not pleasure. Not success. But alignment. Living in tune with your values, your nature, your reason. So ask yourself, without judgment, what do I value? Honesty? Creativity? Compassion? Strength? Then find one way, just one, to live that value today. Speak the truth, even if your voice shakes. Create something, even if it's messy. Help someone, even if it's just listening. Lift something heavy, even if it's only your own heart. Bit by bit, your life begins to reshape around meaning, not mood. And then something remarkable happens. You begin to experience moments of gratitude. Not forced. Not on a checklist. But real. Like when the sun hits your face after days of rain. Like when you hear laughter and it doesn't sting. Like when you realize, I didn't think about dying today. Gratitude is not a cure. But it's a light. And every light matters. Epictetus said, he is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has. This is not toxic positivity. This is ancient survival wisdom. You cannot heal in a mind that only sees the void. You must teach it to see what remains. Look around. What have you survived? What have you endured? That strength is yours now. It's not a theory. It's not a quote. It's a fact. You have been to the edge, and you're still breathing. So what now? Now, you begin to imagine again. Not fantasy. Not escape. But possibility. You start to ask, what if life could be different? Not instantly. But eventually. Not perfect. But meaningful. Not painless. But real. Maybe you move to a new place. Maybe you return to school. Maybe you leave a job that drains you. Maybe you start drawing again. Writing again. Loving again. Maybe you try therapy. Maybe you try silence. Maybe you try again, whatever trying means to you. There is no one path out of depression. But all paths start with one truth: you are not your suffering. You are the space around it. The fire beneath it. The quiet will that says, not today. And some days will still hurt. That's okay. Pain is not failure. Darkness is not defeat. But now you have tools. Now you have words. Now you know, there is a way through. And most of all, you're not alone. You survived something that tried to erase you. You walked through a fire that no one else could see. You carried a weight that made every step feel impossible. And yet, you are still here. That matters. Not because everything is fixed. Not because you're smiling now. But because you didn't let the darkness win. You kept breathing. Even when it hurt. And maybe no one saw the battle. Maybe the world went on, blind to what you were enduring. But you saw it. You lived it. You endured it. And that makes you stronger than you know. Now, it's time to live. Not just exist. Not just survive. But truly live. In small ways. In real ways. Start by letting go of perfection. Healing isn't about becoming the best version of yourself. It's about becoming a real version of yourself. The one who feels, stumbles, learns, breaks, and rises again. Depression taught you something. Something painful, but honest. It taught you that the world can feel empty when you're disconnected from your truth. That chasing status, money, or approval won't save you. That being busy doesn't mean you're okay. That numbing yourself with screens, substances, or distractions only delays the ache. So now, you begin again. But this time, with truth. Truth about who you are. Truth about what matters. Truth about how short and fragile life really is. The Stoics knew this well. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think." It wasn't meant to scare. It was meant to wake you up. Because when you've touched despair, you begin to see clearly, life is not something to waste. Not one morning. Not one conversation. Not one breath. You learn to love slower. Deeper. More honestly. You don't fake it anymore. You don't pretend you're fine when you're not. You don't stay in places that drain your soul. You don't say yes when your whole body is screaming no. You begin to protect your peace. You start saying things like, "I'm not available for that anymore." Or, "That version of me died with the depression." You draw lines. Not because you're cruel. But because you finally understand, your energy is sacred. You build your days around what nourishes you. Sunlight. Movement. Music. Silence. Real connection. You stop apologizing for needing rest. You stop explaining your healing. You stop chasing people who left you in your darkest hour. And you stop punishing yourself for ever breaking. Because you didn't fail. You adapted. You endured. You found ways to stay alive, even if they weren't pretty. That deserves compassion. That deserves honor. Now, it's time to forgive. Forgive yourself for not being okay. For needing help. For falling apart. For not always being strong. For not healing fast enough. Forgive the past versions of you, the one who didn't know better. The one who stayed too long. The one who didn't speak up. The one who hurt others while hurting inside. That's not who you are now. Now, you know better. Now, you've seen what's on the edge. And you get to choose something else. You get to choose simplicity. Joy in a quiet cup of coffee. Peace in a walk with no destination. Meaning in helping someone else who feels lost. Gratitude, not forced, but felt. You start to live like time matters. Like your story matters. Because it does. Your story can become a map. For someone else who's drowning. For someone who thinks they're the only one. For someone sitting alone in the dark, searching for a reason to stay. Your pain has shaped you, but it didn't destroy you. That's power. There's something unshakable in people who've survived the worst parts of themselves. They carry a softness and a strength. They don't take life for granted. They don't waste time on the fake. They've been to hell and come back more real than ever. You are one of them now. You may not feel ready. You may still feel fragile. That's okay. You don't have to be ready. You just have to be willing. Willing to try again. To take one more step. To open the curtains. To pick up the pen. To call a friend. To breathe. One breath at a time. You don't owe the world perfection. You don't owe anyone a performance. You only owe yourself this, honesty, care, and the courage to begin again. And if you ever find yourself slipping back, don't panic. Healing is not a straight line. You'll have bad days. You'll feel lost again. But now you know what to do. Now you know it passes. Now you know it's a season, not your identity. And above all, now you know, you're not alone. Because if you're hearing this now, someone out there cared enough to put these words in front of you. Someone out there believes in your return. Someone out there knows, you're not done yet. Not even close. You are still unfolding. Still becoming. Still burning with the quiet fire of survival. So here's the truth I want you to hold on to, when it's dark again, when it hurts again, when the weight returns. You matter. Your life matters. And there is still so much left for you to see, to feel, to give. So please, stay. Not because everything is easy. Not because everything is perfect. But because somewhere inside you, you still want to. And that is enough.